to another episode of Sparkly Conversation. I am here with Memphis Basketball Trainers, Coach Jeffery Johnson. As you all can see, I am holding my mic because obviously it's not stable enough for this shirt. So hopefully I remember to make sure it's close to me so you all can hear what I'm saying. But I'm so happy to have Coach Jeffery with me on today. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, okay. So let me give you some information about Coach Jeffery. So Coach Jeffery is taking basketball skills he's learned in high school, college, and professional basketball and to mentor young youth. Mm-hmm. And he has a different twist with how he trains youth in the community with his basketball training. So he actually applies biblical principles to basketball training. I had never heard that before until I sat and met with him. So I thought it was interesting. And I'm very excited for him to share this with you. So in addition to him being the owner of Memphis Basketball Trainers, he is also an author. He has written books on sports and youth development. And he has gave me an exclusive. He has another one in the queue. So I'm excited to hear about that one. And then he's also a poet. He played college and professional basketball. He has a recent documentary produced by Studio Suggs called Memphis Basketball Trainers, the start of something special on Sweet Spire TV. Mm-hmm. And it's actually really, really good. I checked it out. If you haven't already, go ahead and check that out. Actually, I told Coach Jeffery when he got here that Caleb Suggs, who's actually I think he's the owner of Studio Suggs. He's actually a journalism and strategic media alum. That's also my college where I got my master's in. So I don't know Caleb personally, but he was featured on U of M's Amazon Prime series, our Prime series, and I worked on that as my regular employment. And I also was an extra. You'll see me on there. If you know me, you'll recognize me. I said all that to say
he's a celebrity. He's a celebrity. Everybody knows Caleb.
Who does? I've heard nothing but good things around the college. Like I said, I don't know him personally, but I want to say that great people come out of the JRSM program. Caleb, myself. So shout out to JRSM. So let's get started with Coach Jeffery's story. So Coach Jeffery, tell me why you started Memphis Basketball Trainers.
So I wanted to stay around the sport when I graduated from college because I wanted to still pursue pro ball. And I needed a little extra cash, fresh out of college. I started working as a director over a Boys and Girls Club, but I didn't want to end my love for basketball. I didn't want to transition into working without pursuing pro. So I started training kids, and immediately after playing my senior season, families were like bursting down the door just to get with me. Like, hey, yeah, you just played at a big university in our current town. You can train my kid. And I didn't know that I was going to blend my education degree and my love for basketball into one thing. So I started training kids. I started using the teaching principles I literally just learned, classroom management, like adaptive physical education, teaching kids about exercise, kinesiology. And I'm like, man, this is a real thing, right? It's not just physical training, but it's also, mentorship and emotional training, social emotional learning. So I got to apply all my education principles in something that I love. And that kind of already set me on a different path than most people. So I'm going to be what I needed when I was a kid. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense. So let me ask you this. What obstacles did you face when getting your dream of having the basketball facility off the ground and up and running?
So I dreamt about this in 2016. I wanted a full court that I can do anything I wanted to do. I wanted my own space because churches, community centers weren't conducive for companies like me, right? Trainers that wanted to grow their own thing. Every year, it was like clockwork. I would build a program and then churches and community centers would kick me out of the gym. And it would start me over and I couldn't grow that way. I couldn't bring on a team. I couldn't provide like results, like true results to the kids. The parents loved it, but I just didn't like it from a programmatic standpoint. So 2023 really pursued the idea of having my own space. And when you have AC and you've been training outside, it's a different monster. Like I'm slick bougie now. Like
Oh no,
why
now he
why train
bougie.
why
Okay.
why train outside in the
Yeah.
heat when you have AC?
Mm-hmm.
But no, it's been a journey, and I'm glad I took that leap.
Mm. Awesome. So when I met with Coach Jeffrey, he explained to me the reasoning why he wanted to start the Memphis Basketball Trainers to be that influence for youth. And he said he
Mm-hmm.
wanted to protect kids
Kids
from
from
evil.
evil.
Can you
Yes.
explain to the viewers what you mean by that? Because it took me aback. I was like, what? So explain what you mean by you want to protect kids from evil.
Yeah. So aside from my personal story of it's okay, of basketball practice
Mm.
keeping me away from things that was happening in my neighborhood. Right. Like I didn't grow up in a bad neighborhood, but there were influences, older guys coming back into the neighborhood and like being the big brother type of deal for us. And it was kind of getting us into trouble. But I couldn't because I had practice. I had a game. If I got in trouble, I couldn't play. So aside from just the responsibility of playing, I couldn't be in certain things. Right. It was too time consuming. I couldn't go out at certain times because I have a game. I couldn't do this. I have training. Right. So that protected me by itself. But then when you add elements of biblical principles like teaching about self-control and discipline, teaching about adversity, discipline and training, eating healthy, getting proper rest, like all these principles are in the Bible. Mm-hmm. And when I say evil, I have this running acronym: evil, low esteem, voices in your head telling you that you're no good, lies from people that have harmed you, and your insecurities. I know that's a little backwards, but your insecurities and then lies that people told about you. So protecting them from the outside world trying to destroy them mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, in addition to physically. Because playing basketball and being active keeps you from obesity, certain chronic illnesses that develop when you become adults, right? So I know people don't like to consider that evil, but when your body deteriorates from a lack of discipline, lack of self-control, that's a form of evil, right? And it causes harm to other people, right? When you are so swayed by your emotions, when you're easily influenced, when lies you've been told or detrimental teachings lead you to do something like shoot up a school, right? Like protecting the kid's mind, protecting their spirit from legit evil that roams the earth, right? So even in our physical space, like we are a safe place for children, all children, regardless of their race, their socioeconomic background, their ability, their beliefs, their disabilities, and their creed. Like when you walk into our building, you're protected. And you got to deal with me and my team, and we don't tolerate harming children, right? Like I spent the last 10 years of my adult life building systems and principles to protect the kids. So when they step in my presence, they feel safe, right? Even if their world is crumbling, they feel safe around us.
I like that because our kids, they need that safe space.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on in the community right now, and I just feel like kids just need something to do.
Yeah.
And from what I'm hearing, you're giving them an outlet to go to learn basketball skills, but you're also applying biblical principles to it and also teaching them life skills while keeping them healthy, making them because you said insecurity, making them see that they are okay, they are enough.
They are enough.
And so I think that's good because kids need that. It's just a lot going on, and they don't need to be at home playing video games or doing
all
something
day
they're not supposed to be doing. And your center, from what I'm hearing, gives them that outlet.
You want to know what the biggest insecurity is in sports, particularly basketball? And it's a lie, right? It is your self-worth is tied to your performance and your ability. If you don't have a certain ability or performance level, then your self-worth matches that. So you're nothing. That's why a lot of professional athletes like commit suicide, go back into poverty, start drinking, end up on the streets, using drugs, because their identity is so attached to their performance. And when they're no longer an athlete, who are they? And in my book, Chasing Pro, I wrote that book literally days after I had a career-ending injury that I didn't allow to end my career. I tore my patella tendon, and I was no longer a trainer. I was no longer a basketball player, right? I couldn't work. I couldn't walk. I couldn't do the basic necessities like taking a shower on my own, right? Feeding myself. I couldn't do anything on my own. And it's like, who are you? Like, are you all those accolades? Are you a poet, but you can't do poetry? You can't even stand up. You can't train, so are you a trainer? So when I separated my performance from my identity, I realized that I'm a child of God. I'm a husband. I'm a friend, right? I'm a big brother, right? Those are non-negotiables for your identity. And that's completely separate from your performance or your ability. So when we say we accept kids regardless of their ability, you don't have to be the next LeBron James to come into our center. You can be brand new. And we love new athletes. We call them the new athlete. And it's a certain type of care that we have for our kids.
I love it. And then Coach Jeffery, I put this book up because he just dropped this on me on today, Chasing Pro. I'm definitely going to check it out. Thank you for, he autographed it for me and everything, y'all. So how do you say you use biblical principles in your training? How did those same biblical principles help you when you were playing basketball in college, in high school, professionally?
So there's one on our hallway wall. It's 1 Timothy 4, verse 7. 1 Timothy 4:7. It says, train yourself to be godly, right? And you're like, what does that mean? Well, later it says, do not fall for old myths and wives' tales rather than train yourself to be godly, right? It's so many things that can confuse you as an athlete. So many opinions and false truths, right, that can distract you. So you have to literally focus on what is true, right? And one of the things for training and being an athlete that's very similar is you have to work on your weaknesses. And that comes with truth. If you can't be honest about where you are, you can never grow. It's like truth and growth go hand in hand. If you have an injury and you cannot jump, you have to address the injury before you try to join the All-Star game, right? If you have a weakness in your left hand, you cannot be expected to play in the last 2 minutes when it's really important when you have that deficiency, right? So truth and growth go hand in hand. And I learned that playing at Mississippi State, where I was so new to that environment because I had retired from sports. And older in college, I was like, you know what, I want to play again. But I didn't have the skill set needed to play at that level. I had the skill set to make it, but to be the man on the team, I didn't have that skill set. So that was very humbling. So it's like, what is the truth? You have to learn certain things to be able to do certain things. So that still stuck with me to this day.
That's good. That's good. Because you're saying that you had to do a self-evaluation of yourself. It's like, you know what? I'm not that person. And and I think a lot of, like you say, athletes probably struggle. Their identity is wrapped up in their sport. So when they lose that a bit or get injured, they're like, who am I?
Who am I?
And so you had to do a self-evaluation. You're like, who is Coach? Who at that time? Who is Jeffery?
Who is Jeffery, right? The athlete.
The athlete.
I'm still an athlete. I played in a game, celebrity game, Saturday.
Okay.
The city versus county game for Heal the Hood Foundation.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I did well. I think I had about 20, you know.
Coach Jeff said he still got it. Listen, okay.
Don't challenge me is all I'm saying. Don't challenge me.
So Coach Jeffery, let's get into your impact with the youth. So the world of basketball is evolving. It's changed so much. And so I actually did my thesis I was talking about, you know, because I graduated from that program. I did a thesis on women's sports. It's a longer title than that, but the basis of it was women's sports. Do you coach girls? And then how do you prepare them for their adversities that they're going to face in the sports world?
Absolutely. You cannot train guys without training girls because they need the same principles too, right? I have so many sisters. I have 8 sisters, and most of them play college ball, high school and college basketball. Okay. And what I teach the girls is literally the exact same thing I teach the boys, but with a different spin. Men focus primarily on athleticism. In basketball, women have to focus on skill because a man can jump and just make something happen in the sport because of their athleticism. Just jump up there and just put it in the rim. not to diminish the difficulty that it takes,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not as structured as having proper footwork or finesse or touch or knowing about strength, right? Knowing about force distribution. You have to be more cognitive as a lady than a guy. So I have to teach them how to deal with that, how to use their bodies more, right? So yeah, I absolutely teach women. I have to, because like my sisters would kill me.
Yeah. We don't want that to happen.
We do not want that to happen.
So when I watched Coach Jeffrey's documentary on Speedspire, one of his sayings is, and I believe he also has this on a shirt, training is discipleship making.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you take on that slogan? First of all, explain to the viewers what that means, and then why did you take on that slogan?
Got you. So when I train kids, I'm literally making miniature versions of myself. I teach them everything that I know, and then I help them grow in what they have already or what they could have. So when you see one of my kids, you can kind of tell that they've been hanging around me, whether in their game or in their mannerisms. And I'm taking literally the model that Jesus had for us. He was himself, and he took his 12, and he challenged his 12 to go make more, right? So I'm taking literally different trainers throughout the city. I'm teaching them everything I know without gatekeeping, and telling them to build their own business as they train the kids in my program. And I give them the option. Like, if you want to stay in a part of my program, you can, or you can go build your own, and I'll help you, give you the foundation to do so. There's a statistic, 70% of kids that participate in youth sports quit by the time they become 13 years old.
Why is that?
The number one reason is poor coaching. So roughly 44 million kids throughout America play sports annually. Only 10% of those coaches actually have coaching, training, or teaching education. So that leads to 70% of kids saying, I'm done by the time they become 13. So the kids that we see that actually do play are only 30% of the population of youth in America. 30%. So, but you see coaches everywhere, and I love volunteers. I love dads that step up, but there's a science to this. It's art and science. So when I train young adults, I say, hey, this is a framework for how you use classroom management skills. This is a framework for how you use these exercise science principles. This is a framework, because I technically can't force people to train like me. I can give them free resources and suggestions. Say, hey, I've done this for 10 years. Here's a framework. And if you fill it with your creativity, you can create your own thing, but it has a solid foundation. So you go out and make more kids love basketball, love sports, love life, and you teach them that it's more to life than just being a basketball player. All right. I have a kid right now that lost his sister last October. She was an intern for us, and he has been training with me since he was 9 years old.
Wow.
And he is like my little brother. And I remember getting the call, and I went straight to his house, right? I was at the funeral. I try to keep him around me as much as possible. Sometimes I don't even charge him. I said, just come to the gym and be around me, because you need community. So that's what it's about, right? So when he's hurting, like, I'm like, hey, I'm about to come up to your house. I haven't heard from you. Like, where are you? You know what I mean? And when coaches take that approach to youth development, it doesn't matter if they're winning or losing basketball games. What matters is how you impacted them. I have a phrase that I use now. It says, do something today that kids will remember 20 years from now. Because I'm 20 years removed from middle school. And I remember, and you saw in the documentary, I said I got cut from my middle school basketball team when I was in the 7th grade. And the same man that cut me was walking through my facility 20 years later. Now, granted, he did bring me on the team the next year, right? Because he saw I had improved. But to have that same man, shout out to Jimmy Coleman, walking through my facility, he started all of this by cutting me and then giving me a second chance. So if he can give me a second chance, and it has helped so many kids, literally, I'm approaching like 6,000 one-on-one personal training sessions.
Wow.
If he can give me a second chance, I can give a kid a second chance.
Yeah.
That's easy.
Yeah. That's true mentorship, Coach Jeffery, because you're saying that. No, seriously, because even though your skill set is training basketball, but you see that your kids need more than that.
Absolutely.
Going back to the young man who lost his sister, you saw, okay, yeah, I know I'm your coach. However, you don't need coaching right now. You need someone to be there for you. Yeah. And I think that's what our children are missing. Someone who's there, like when they're in sports, I'm not involved in sports. I'm outside looking in. But they're in sports, they just kind of just keep it going. And they don't deal with what's bothering them. Like real life stuff that's bothering him. And yeah, you can throw yourself into it, but at the end of the day, when you go home, you're still dealing with that. And so you taking on that role, like, yeah, I'm your coach, but I'm also going to be here for you through those regular life journeys as well. That's impactful.
He's going to remember this. Like, I pray that he does. Like, I have 2 students who are at the University of Memphis right now. I haven't physically trained them in 5 years. And they texted me Happy Father's Day yesterday. 2 sisters. And I wanted to cry. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Because that means you're making an impact. You're an influence. And that's something that our kids need. They need that. So how does it make you feel to see your students go on to excel in the sport that they love?
It's exciting. We have our first official kid. His name is Silas Carlisle. He just signed with Southwest Tennessee Community College.
Okay.
He's our first official athlete that has been developed and signed and committed.
Wow.
We also have track athletes, and I make the joke of, I've been training you since you were a kid and you choose track when you go to college, right? But I'm glad they're doing something because it definitely helped on their journey.
Yeah.
So to see kids going off to college and coming home and challenging me, and I'm like, you're not ready if you don't beat me. So you're not going to beat me in my house, right? So it's a rite of passage. So as you can imagine, every day I have young adults like, Coach, where your shoes at? And I'm like, my back.
Not just see, now you just said you still got it, and you're like, oh, my back. You can't do them like that,
Coach. It's so
many
of them now. It's so many. And they're so energetic. And when they lose to me, it just builds a deeper fire in them. And I'm like, yeah, like take that fire to your school.
To your school. I'm done for the day.
No rematches. Yeah. No rematches. But yeah, it's powerful because I know the work it took to get there.
Yeah.
I've been there. It's hard. Like a small percentage. Like that 30% of people is probably like 3% of those kids that actually make it to college to play. And even smaller from there, make it to the pros.
Yeah.
So just to see that and them actually acknowledge that I had a part in it is enough for me. Like I would never step on a kid to try to elevate my career, right? Like I was even hesitant of promoting certain things about their accomplishments, knowing I had a direct hand in helping them get that. But it's not about me. I'm a guide. I'm just a support.
Yeah.
I'm not the hero in their story. Yeah. I'm a support. So yeah, it's fun.
That's nice. So now that you have Memphis Basketball Trainers, now your dream has become a reality. How does that make you feel?
Oof. I tell people I have 5 major dreams in my life, and 3 of them have come true. The facility being the most recent one. And now I want to dream more. Like what other thing can I create? Right? I've always considered myself like a Renaissance person where I love multiple disciplines. So it's like, what haven't I done? And if I die today, I'm happy. Like I'm fulfilled. I'm complete at 33. And it's like, all right, what's next, Lord, for you, for me to create? So I am intending on opening multiple facilities.
Okay.
So that's going to be something exciting.
Yeah.
So there's no reason a kid in West Point, Mississippi, which is 2.5 hours away, should have to drive to Memphis to train with me for an hour, turn around and drive home. That's a 5-hour experience on a Saturday morning, every Saturday. That means A, I have something special, and B, there's not much in your area. So I'm going to build things in these smaller communities where there aren't trainers. So you won't have to come to me. We're going to take it to you. So that's the next big dream.
That's beautiful, Coach Jeffery.
Thank you.
I have enjoyed having Coach Jeffery on here today. just his impact, him making it. I met Coach Jeffery through Coach Tori, who is my work brother's wife. Y'all remember? Y'all may not remember Coach Tori because I just started this YouTube channel about a month ago. But follow me on my Instagram page at the end of this video when I give it. She was actually on my show when I was on the radio at the Roar. I had her on my show, and she actually connected me with Coach Jeffery. And
she's my client.
Yeah, she told me. I think she told me her nephew trains with you. So yeah, see, I'm a good person, y'all. I be making connections and stuff. And so you're making an impact in the community, Coach Jeffery. Like I said, from his documentary goes way deeper than our conversation that we had today. But it actually tells how he got started. It shows like the process. It's so nice, y'all. It's I'm not gonna give it to you because you gonna patronize, like I told you in my last episode. You're gonna patronize Coach Jeffery and watch this episode documentary, but it's worth it. It's really good. But you're doing something that like I said, our youth need. And I see that lacking because it's summertime, it's hot.
And it's coming.
Listen, and they don't have anything to do. And so I like that you give them an outlet. Do you train, let me ask you this before I ask you, do you have like any final words? Do you train kids that don't have like basketball, like fresh beginners, like don't have any type of skills?
So what I'm about to do, I've always wanted to do this. I just got to figure out the logistics for it. I'm going to pull up to different places around town, different parks. I know I was being silly about the AC, but I'm going to pop up to different places and either bring my own goal or pop up to where kids are playing at parks and just start training them.
Okay.
So like pop-up shops where I'm not asking for any money. Because I've done that before where a kid just be over there by themselves in a goal and I just walk up and start, hey, let's do some drills, right? And when I walk away, I'm seeing the kid work on those drills. That's my hope, is that I leave something that they can work on, right? I'm not saying, yeah, follow me here, No, like it's not like I'm trying to be anonymous, but I'm not trying to make it about me. Right? I just want to be present, right? And that's all we all can do. That's all we can do is just be present, be active, and the kids will remember it.
Yeah.
How many years from now? 20. That's my goal.
Yeah.
20 years. That's a deep root in a child's life.
Just to be there. That's what he just gonna be there.
Just be there. That's all they need.
That's all they need. Any final words, Coach Jeffery, before we close out?
Final words, whatever that thing is that God placed in your heart, do it, because somebody has been promised a blessing through your gift. And if you're disobedient and keeping it to yourself, you're literally robbing somebody of a promise God made them. Don't do that.
Coach Jeffery didn't turn into Preacher Jeffery. Okay. Now we're going back to I Can't Snap. Now we poet. Thank you for tuning into this episode. If you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube page, Spark the Conversation. You can also find me on YouTube Music. Follow me on Instagram at Spark_the_Convo. And you can also follow me on Facebook as well as Spark the Conversation. So listen, I will not be back next week. I know I just got started, but I'm taking a little vacation.
There we go.
I need the vacation. So I'll be back. As of right now, I will be back on July 14th with my next guest. But like I said, follow those social medias to keep the updates so you can know the official. But as of now, July 14th is when I'll be back.
Can I drop my social?
Yes.
I almost forgot.
Drop your social.
Please follow us at Basketball Trainers on all platforms. TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. That's MEMBBALL Trainers.
There you go. There you have it. See you all when I get back. Thank you for joining.